Okay, so let's get started. Today we're talking about headaches. Obviously, that's something that we see in our clinics way too often. Many people are suffering from headaches nowadays, and it's really impacting people's lives. I think this problem got bigger and bigger during COVID. These are stressful times. Working from home, people with poor ergonomics, computer setups, it's having a real effect. So today, I don't want to talk about headaches as in a great big boring list of symptoms and lots of medical terminology. What I just want to do is try and understand where they're coming from, what we can do about them. Let's make it more user-friendly so it can actually help you do something about these very unpleasant headaches. First of all, I am a chiropractor, so first of all, we'll start off with a posture check, as usual. Let's start this with good intention. So I really want everybody to understand why it's so important that you have good posture. It says right there at the bottom, people with poor posture statistically suffer way more headaches of all types. So let's understand what good posture is. So go ahead, lift your sternum, that's your breastbone, pull your head back, open, relax your shoulders. You should now have a slight curve in your low back. Engage your abs, and you should be looking good, right? That's good posture. So if I was you, I would have some kind of reminder during your workday so that you can reset yourself. I know that we get tired during the day and we gradually slump, and we lean into our screen. But you know, there is a consequence to that. So we want to learn how to reset our posture, and we want to learn how to create some kind of reminder. All right. Right. So headaches. Did you know that 90% of people will have substantial headaches at some time in their life? So that's pretty much, you know, affecting everybody. Because the medical companies are pretty much unable to address the actual cause of the headaches, medical companies have just come up with a great big long list of names for all these various headaches. For example, tension, you might have heard some of them. Tension headaches, cluster, stress, rebound, congenital, sinus, allergy, exertion headaches, hormonal headaches, caffeine headache, primary, secondary, withdrawal headaches, migraines. Wow, that is some kind of list, isn't it? You know, I wouldn't wish these headaches on anybody, but look, you know, most of us who do suffer from them think that they're stuck with them. The medical companies, they tend to name them, blame them, and then their job is to tame them with drugs. And this is all very well and good if they are helping people. But actually what they're doing is they're just coming up with great big long lists of symptoms. They are conditions. They are making us think that headaches are a thing that we have to live with. And it creates this victim mentality. And it's my intention today to help you get away from this victim mentality. If you are a headache sufferer, I believe you don't have to. And today I want to make that quite clear. So I'm going to go through 4 dangerous beliefs. One of them, as I've just mentioned, people seem to think that headaches are the problem. People say, yeah, I'm a headache sufferer. Well, you know, I just want to make sure we understand what's happening here. You know, we must look for the cause of the pain. This is a theme that I'm going to keep mentioning today. And, you know, if you are a headache sufferer, I really want to change that perception. And as I'm going through this, I'm sure I'm going to be mentioning quite a few steps that you can take to alleviate them or to make them less often, less severe. Why don't you write them down and you know, try some of these steps that I'm going to give you. There's that great big long list of of names of headaches that the medical community give to us. I want to break it down to what I call the big 3. So stress headaches, sinus headaches, and migraines, these will account for more than 95% of the headaches. These are the ones that we need to deal with, okay? The most common by a mile is tension headaches, stress headaches, if you like, cervicogenic. A lot of these tend to come from the neck. These are the ones that are most pervasive. These are the ones when people come into my clinic and I ask them if they suffer headaches. They say, yeah, just normal headaches. Well, I ask you, what is a normal headache? I don't get headaches. I haven't had a headache for many, many years. And because I understand where they're coming from, I know how to take the right steps to make sure that I don't suffer from them. Normal is no headaches. Let's be clear about that. And it's what you are doing about the headaches that is the most important thing. And one thing is absolutely for sure, you are not getting headaches because you have a lack of medication. Okay? Some people too quickly reach for the pill bottle and boom, it's not good. It is having side effects. Always, when you're taking medication, have a look on the back. You probably need a microscope because they make it so small you can't read it, but do have a look at the side effects of these medications. You might be surprised. So here's my question to you. Is pain good or bad? After all, headaches is pain. Well, of course, headaches and pain is not good. We don't want pain. We do not want to live our life with recurring pain. But I mean, for me, I think pain is actually, well, good and bad, really. But for me, it's mostly good because I immediately look at it and ask myself, what is it telling me? It has a purpose. That's right. It's not there just to make life miserable. It's literally the body, and our bodies are smart. We have intelligence, innate intelligence that we're born with, and the job of the intelligence of the body is to protect us and help steer us down a healthy course through life. You're not getting pain because it's just saying you need drugs. You need to take the splinter out of your skin or the stone out of your shoe, or you've got to make some change that will allow the tension and whatever is causing the imbalance to subside. One of my favorite slides is this one here, and I want you to really, really understand this. This is the illness-wellness continuum. And let me try and explain that. We are all on this continuum somewhere, right? We are somewhere on this chart. If you are on the left, that's the illness, the disease side. It's probably not a good thing. People that live their lives on there are reactive, then as opposed to proactive, where people who are proactive tend to spend more time being aware of what the body's telling them, being more proactive and perhaps eating better and exercising and thinking about their bodies at a higher level, right? We're making smart decisions. Unfortunately, because of, well, I know this is right because I see so many people that way too many people live their lives on the left side. And people are living with signs and symptoms and growing disability, and they're not really taking real, I'm going to call it due care and attention of their own physiology. They're simply masking the symptoms with drugs or whatever. I myself, I really work hard and to live on the right side. I have awareness. I've educated myself. I see every day as a growth experience. But of course, everybody will always have some signs and symptoms sometime, right? Of course I do. Just like anybody else, I might get some pain. If I'm leaning over clients all day, every day, I'll probably get a stiff back, some back pain. But that's the body telling me that I need to be aware, I need to stretch, I've got to strengthen, get my chiropractic adjustments in, right? Very quickly, once I've dealt with the signs and symptoms, I get back over to the right side, all right? The blue side, the high levels of wellness. And that's where we all want to live our lives. And you parents out there, please, this is an education thing. We've got to guide our kids so they become obviously aware and they have the information, but they do copy us. And we do know that adults that tend to have a less healthy way of life, they tend to pass this on to their kids. So that is a bit of a shame. I really think that the times that we've been in over the last couple of years is a time to reprioritize. I myself have seen it as a new beginning. I'm trying to teach this philosophy to everyone else. As we saw in the previous slide, we can be proactive or reactive. If you're reactive, you just wait for things to happen, and that you wait for things to go wrong, and then you deal with it. Whereas if we go on the offense and we really are mindful, and we don't want to play a defensive game where the problems come to us. We want to go on the offense, I believe, and that's where we attack life and we embrace it. And we exercise. We are optimistic and not pessimistic. We don't worry so much. We take control. And what I'm talking about is mindset. And I know for a fact that we can't change the world we live in too easily, but we can definitely change how we feel about it. And how we feel about it is very, very, very important. Our mindset will determine our feelings and thoughts, and then those thoughts will definitely affect our behaviors and therefore our outcomes. So everything starts with our mindset. And that's why I really want us to think in terms of we should really concentrate on health, having vibrant health, and we want quality time on this planet. We don't want to spend the last 30 years with chronic headaches and pain and arthritis and what have you. And if we don't want to do that, then we've got to spend more time on the right side, asking good questions and educating ourselves and being proactive. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Now, dangerous belief number 2, drugs work. What do you think? Do drugs work? Well, we all take drugs from time to time, that's for sure. Well, so it depends. What is your objective? If you've absolutely got to get some sleep and you've got a headache, you've got to get some sleep because you've got that big meeting in the morning, I understand if you reach for the pills. I really understand. But you do not want to be taking them all day, every day. You don't, because there are side effects, whether it's your liver, your kidneys, GI problems, leaky gut, all these things. Lots of people are now taking opioids. How bad is that? They're very, very addictive, cause terrible problems all over the world. These are actually increasing. We know that they're increasingly a problem, very addictive, but they are increasing in use, and they're being dispensed more and more by our medical partners. So we've got to be very careful. And then something that people don't really understand, because it seems counterintuitive, is yes, a headache, medications cause headaches. And that might sound ridiculous, but I know it's a crazy fact, but one of the primary side effects of many of the prevalent headache medications is more headaches. Read it on the back. You'll see it. You'll see it. Quite often these are referred to as rebound headaches. If you're taking medications, you're going to get used to it. You might find you need to take more and more. And when you come off them, boom, you get symptoms. These headaches are really bad, and they will put you back on the medication because anything to get some relief, right? So be very, very careful with these. The dangerous belief number 3 is that if you just give these things time, the problem will go away. And we ignore the problem, and it will probably go away. This does work sometimes, but if we've got problems in life, what happens if you try and ignore it? Does it tend to go away, or is it likely, if we're not addressing the cause of the problem, that it might just get worse? Well, I think if you think a bit smartly about this, we get into it, I think we understand that things are probably going to get worse. All right. Ignoring the problems in life, waiting for them to go away, is not a good strategy in life. Okay, right. What I want to do is now move on to the 3 types of headaches that people suffer from. Let's just understand what they're all about. Number 1, sinus headaches. Now, these are to do with an overexpression of the immune system. Right? We're getting pressure in the sinuses. We have sinuses in our cheeks, in our forehead, and around our face. These are voids, cavities, and if there's pressure in there, boy, oh boy, we can get a stonking headache, right? And what causes the pressure? Inflammation. Where does inflammation come from? The immune system. So these can be caused by allergies. So anything that in our environment that the body sees as toxic, so that the immune system mounts an attack, creating this inflammation, then that's going to create the situation. So think about seasonal things, so things that are grown in the fields, maybe not so bad in Singapore, but what about the quality of the air that we breathe sometimes? You know, what about when all that smog comes in from Malaysia, all that the bad air quality? Well, that some people really are affected by these, and these headaches are very often sinus headaches. Okay, and the body's basically recognizing something as toxic and creating this inflammation, creates all this pressure. One of the big ones obviously are migraine headaches. I'm sure there's some migraine sufferers out there. I know I see them every day in my clinic. Very unfortunate to suffer from these. These are the medical community don't really understand the exact cause, but we know that there's definitely often a hormonal aspect. Why do we know that? Well, many women are affected during their monthly cycles. We can all be affected more and more by stress hormones that are released by our bodies. So these tend to be recurring, and they tend to be like a severe throbbing or a pulsing pain deep within the head. Once you've had a migraine, you know you've had a migraine. Often it's on one side of the head. Usually it will be on one side of the head. Sometimes, and quite often actually, it's associated with nausea, feeling sick, and weakness. You know, you're just fatigued. It really is draining. And very often there is this sensitivity to light or sound. These migraines will have, generally, I'm speaking generally, they will have 4 stages. Firstly, there's the premonitory. Now, what does that mean? That's the early stage. That's when you start to feel the warning signs. So you know your own body. These might be mood swings or maybe stiffness in the neck, especially tension up here. There'll be something that you know it's coming. Quite often, 25%, 1 in 4. People are affected with visual disturbances. You know, people actually get to see flashing lights or a blurring of the vision, and you know, so it's really off-putting, and you really do know something that's not quite right. And then you've got the actual. So that's the aura. That's the second part of it. Premonitory, then the aura, and then boom, the headache hits you itself on one side of the head. Usually they are worst with activity. So if you've got a migraine, then you really want to be lying down, definitely not running around, because if you get that blood pumping even more, boom, it's going to get much worse. They can be recurring, and these migraine circles that people go through, cycles, if you like, they can last hours or even days. After the headache, the pain has died down, then people usually experience this post-drome, it's called, when they left feeling absolutely exhausted, and most people just don't lie down. Recovery, may take a day. Some people even takes a couple of days. It's very tempting when you are feeling like this to take more and more medication. I understand, but please, after today, let's try the other things first, and then let's look at least to trying to reduce the amount of medication. Remember, if you take more medication, you will probably need to take more and more. And then ultimately, it's going to do you harm, and then you're going to be wide open to rebound headaches. When you come off the med, boom, the headaches come back. Right? Now, the big one that I see in my office. Now, this is one that people do describe as tension, as normal, and these are the tension headaches. Why do people say normal? Because everybody seems to be getting them nowadays. These are tension headaches or stress headaches. They are typified by a dull, aching pain or pressure in the head, across the neck, shoulders, tightness across the shoulders, maybe down the upper back. Lots of tender points in the neck and around the occipital area at the back of the head. These tension headaches will definitely usually last a few hours. Let's think about our lives. I think most of us, my life is like all yours. It can be pretty stressful at times. Last week we had a super spreader event in our clinics, and everybody came down with COVID. So that was extremely stressful for the clinic and for our clients, trying to keep things going. And now we're all through it, with a deep clean, we're all back on. But at the time, stress. Okay. Too many people are feeling rushed, feeling anxious. People aren't sleeping well. People are feeling on edge. People have got this tight jaw thing, and people aren't breathing well. They're shallow breathing. It's disturbing blood flow. People are getting high blood pressure, which makes headaches worse. The stress is a real thing, and everybody, and especially everybody in Singapore, needs to have their own solutions for reducing stress. And this is a personal thing. So what works for you, right? I'll give you some ideas as we go through this, but you've got to find something, right? I like to go walking with the dog in the countryside. That's my time, all right? A big one for stress is lack of exercise. People are not exercising enough. They are subject to constant stress, and that is a huge cause of these problems. People don't realize that the other word for these tension headaches is cervicogenic. Cervico, neck, genic, where it comes from. So neck pain is highly associated with way over 90% of these stress type headaches. And we're really going to be addressing that today, okay? And this is by far the biggest causing factor. Back to the dangerous beliefs. Number 4 is that nothing can be done about it. This is some people have been having headaches for so long, they think they've tried everything, but usually I don't think so. But in most cases, yes, you absolutely can do something about it. But we've got to remember that headaches are multifactorial. Multifactorial, what does that mean? It means there's more than one factor. In fact, usually there's a number of factors. When these factors sort of layer on stress, and then eventually we cross some threshold and boom, the headache hits us. Right now, I'm going to start with what I believe, well, actually what I know to be the biggest contributing factor to all headaches, and it's structure and function. And I'm a chiropractor, so this, let's just get straight into this. Why is it chiropractic so important for people who have headaches? Why, when we do our surveys, 90% of people say they are so much better in the severity, the frequency of the headaches, and it's simply because chiropractic and certain lifestyle modifications work. And they don't work sometimes, they work nearly every time, okay? We've got to think in terms of function. I used to be an engineer, and I learned very early on that structure determines function. And if your body's not functioning very well, you can guarantee there's probably something wrong with the structure. Where is everything? Is everything in place? Is everything working correctly? But your alignment in gravity, so that, just think of yourself as a whole bunch of weight-bearing joints. Your head sits on your neck has to have the right alignment, your neck sits on the rest of your spine, and these are all 24 weight-bearing joints. If they're not in alignment, then there will be adverse stress, there will be adverse wear and tear. This will eventually become arthritis. This is stress building up. And if we start to get pain and tension up at the top, the body's going to give you some pain. And that pain will very often manifest as cervicogenic or stress or tension headaches, right? If we start to think about these things, it's pretty obvious. And one of these obvious things is that damage to the spine and to the body accumulates, it builds up. And that's why it's really, really important to address these things early. There is something called chronic pain. And chronic pain I wouldn't wish on anybody, because it's pain that never goes away. And why it's so hard to deal with is that the neurological circuits that are delivering that pain to you, they become closed circuits. So they're self-firing. And basically your normal state is that of being in pain. That's chronic pain. So we really must start correcting these early before these headaches become chronic. Then they're much harder to deal with, right? Damage accumulates, and when it's in the body, it's called bioaccumulation. So I'm going to be talking a lot about the neck. So let's understand the anatomy of the neck. What's going on? When we have a look in there, we can see there's a lot going on. Here you can see arteries, we can see nerves, we can see muscles, and we can see, there's a lot going on in there, isn't there? And it's all perfectly designed by God, if you like. Whatever you believe, it has a perfect design and a perfect shape. And if we look inside a little bit more and we see the musculature of the neck, then we can see that you've got lots and lots and lots and lots of muscles. You've got the scalenes and the levator scaps. That's the one at the back that attaches to your scapula, your shoulder blade. Many, many people have pain at the top of their shoulder blade. I can also almost sense people nodding. Yep, that's me. Again, this is highly associated with headaches. If you notice that these muscles are sort of orangey brown, at the end of them, they're white. And at the end of these muscles, these white bits are tendons. And these are the insertion points where the muscles attach to the bone. And they tend to get very inflamed if the muscle gets tight due to whatever. It might be whiplash. More likely in this world, it'll be poor posture. Then it creates tension, pulling on the tendons. You get tendonitis, and that tendon is pulling also on the outer covering of the skull, which is called the periosteum, and this is almost certainly going to end up in headaches. Okay, what brings this on the most? What's the most important thing for causing strain and stress in these muscles? Yeah, you've got it. Posture. Your head goes forward due to activities of daily life, usually, and then you get all this strain and stress building up. Let's just remind ourselves what's going on. You see the illustration on the left. You see the line going down the middle. Then that is the gravity line. That's the line we should be living our lives close to. Remember, our head is the weight of a bowling ball. And if you look at this illustration here, the one on the left, the guy on the left with the head weight weighing 12 pounds, that's good posture, right? So that might be the weight of your bowling ball. But as the posture gets worse and the head comes forward, you can see that the one in the middle, that's 3 bowling balls, nearly 3. And what about the one on the right side? 42 pounds, that's nearly 4 bowling, well, it's 3.5 bowling balls. No wonder we get all that stiffness, and tightness, stiff necks, tension, 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 all building up. This is where the headaches come from, right? And this is why chiropractic adjustments are the most effective solution for resolving or managing neck and shoulder pain, and therefore these headaches. All right. If you know anybody that's getting headaches, at least direct them to our office so they can give it a try. And I can, honestly say with certainly 95% certainty that they will be very much better in a very short space of time. Right. As chiropractors, what do we look after? We look after bones, we look after muscles, and we look after nerves. And it's the relationship of these things. And then there's a greater relationship to all the organs. So there you see on the left, you can see the brain communicating to the spine, and then all the nerves, they go out to all the viscera or organs. Somebody comes in to my clinic and they've got a stress or cervicogenic tension headache, then you can get, my attention is mostly going to be on the upper back and the neck. And you can see it right there. C1 to C7 is in the neck area. T1 to T5, that's in that upper back area. This is physical stress. And what you see here, you can see some, you see the nerves in yellow that go from the spine to the viscera, the organs. These are the stress nerves. And where are they coming from? They're coming straight from the spine, straight from the spine. So if you've got stress building up in that mid-spine, then those stress nerves are doing something to your lungs. They're doing something to your heart. And because they're all connected, they're doing something to your digestion system. They're doing something to your whole body, right? Think of these stresses. So I'm talking about the autonomic nervous system, of which there is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So these yellow nerves, it's the sympathetic nervous system. And you can think of it a bit like an accelerator. Stress, things are getting really wound up. And if there's stress on the spine due to posture or sitting at a computer all day, every day, then it's going to affect all the organs. And you'll also see coming from the top there, right at the top in here, there's some blue nerves. And they also go, if you follow them down, they go to all the organs as well. Now, this is the parasympathetic, or the rest and heal, digestion and regeneration. This is the parasympathetic nerves. And this is why when people are stressed, we're always working with the neck, because this is how we can affect the body. And this is like the brakes. So we can bring the body back into a state of balance. So the stress leaves, and then the parasympathetic nerves can calm down the system. All right. So we've got the autonomic nervous system affected by the spine and posture. And that you've got nerves there, you've got the nerves that accelerate things, and then you've got the nerves that put the brakes on. And we want to be in a state of parasympathetic, which is healthy most of the time. People are coming to my clinic and they've got sinus headaches. Sinus, again, that's very much often to do with the immune system. So there's a chemical component to it. We are definitely going to be adjusting the neck, specifically C2, C6, C7. But of course, remember always that these headaches are multifactorial. So apart from that, we will also be relieving tension from the other parts of the spine, allowing the sympathetic nerves to find some relief. When it comes to the migraine headaches, we're definitely adjusting the neck, right? We want our body to be more parasympathetic and less sympathetic, but also we want to really make sure there's no tension on the gut areas. So we're also going to be adjusting the low back, L1, L2, that sort of area, because there's an awful lot happening in the gut. For example, most of our immune system is centered in the gut. It surrounds the gut, it protects us from invaders as food, and anything that we put through our system leaks into the body. We need a strong immune system. So most of our immune system is in and around the gut. And also what people don't realize is that most of the serotonin that we produce, that feel-good hormone that really helps alleviate headaches, is produced in the digestive system, right? So we're definitely going to be adjusting that low back. So this is why chiropractic is so very important for headache sufferers. But of course, there's lots of other things that we can try as well. So let's think about what we can do. I'm a big proponent of keeping a diary. And if you have a headache that keeps coming back, then you really need to understand what are the factors that are affecting it. So just keeping a diary, perhaps activities, what you're eating, things you've been doing, and then look for patterns. And what we're looking for, we're looking for causes, we're looking for triggers, okay? Very, 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 very useful thing to do. Now, I always say to people that what we do all day, every day matters, and what we do all day, every day becomes us. And so most of us are sitting at our computers all day, every day. So we've got to make sure the tension around the spine is not building up. So there's a picture of me in my living room behind. And I've basically, I'm demonstrating a setup of a laptop. You can see that I've brought it high. So the top of the screen is at eye height. I've got a cushion under me, which is bringing me up to the right height. I don't want to be brought in like this. I want my arms to be sort of straight like this. So I'm using Bluetooth, keyboard and mouse, Bluetooth. What else? I've got a rolled up towel in my low back. So that gives me a lumbar support because I want to maintain that very, very important curve in my low back. Always, I'm aware of my sternum. I'm lifting it, pulling my head back. Because I am me, I don't need to be told. Bad posture feels bad to me, so I constantly am resetting myself. You've probably noticed that I tend to move a lot because I do know that lack of movement creates stasis. Stasis eventually leads to all sorts of problems. Right? So other things that are worth a try. Number one, I think we all know this one, I hope, water. Dehydration, very, very common in Singapore, and it is very, very closely related to tension headaches and migraines. Magnesium, many people are deficient in magnesium, and low levels are very well recognized as a cause. Very, very important with magnesium for blood sugar regulation, nerve transmission, muscle contraction. It helps muscles relax. Okay, so very, very important. If you get cramps, then make sure you're having enough magnesium to help those muscles release. Obviously, we all know this one. I hope we should be limiting alcohol. Alcohol is a vasodilator, and that's why people who drink too much, their faces go red. Right? So what's happening? Their arteries are opening up, and of course that can create pressure, and that can lead to headaches. Another really big one is sleep. Definitely we need more than 6 hours, but we should definitely be aiming for more than 8. If you're getting up above 7 headaches, you are far less likely to suffer headaches, and if you do, they will be less severe. Good sleep, quality sleep, tends to sort of dial down the headaches, right? So they're not as bad. And it's a statistical fact that the majority of headache sufferers experience insomnia, and it can be a vicious circle. Your headache keeps you awake, and then poor sleep makes these headaches more frequent. Right now, this is something that I learned quite recently, and I've realized how common this is. Some people really need to avoid foods high in histamine. To realize that the reason I've learned this recently is that I think I'm one of these people. And I just tend to feel better, and my body does better in many ways if I don't have too much food that contains histamine. Unfortunately, these are my favorite foods. So I'm talking about fermented foods, and beer and wine and cured meat, some of these smoked fish, some of these lovely foods. You've got to be very careful because they can tend to be very high in histamine. But you know, it's what I do is I tend to keep them. I'm aware, so I don't binge on them like I used to when I was younger. And I take a histamine blocker, which is basically a B vitamins. It's a B vitamin complex which helps reduce those histamines. Another great thing to try, and I think you should be trying these if you get headaches. Just try them all. Try essential oils. There are recognized therapeutic benefits. People find them very calming, improve your sleep. Ones you could perhaps try, peppermint is a good one. My wife, she likes lavender, and you could put it on the pillow so you sleep better. You're breathing it in, or you can just actually get some essential oil and just rub it on the temples and just let it soak in, and it'll be diffused around your body in your blood. What else is worth a try? Well, I mentioned B complex vitamin. That's what I take, especially B2, which is riboflavin. If you're a migraine sufferer, B6 and B12 are very, very, very important. So rather than taking these all individually, just take a complex. Make sure it's a decent one, and they are very, very safe. So you're not going to OD on these, but always read the packet so you're taking the right amount. If you've got tight muscles around the neck area, a cold compress can definitely help. Help to decrease the inflammation. It will help constrict the blood vessels, so reducing pressure, tension, and that'll help reduce these tension headaches or even migraines. Now, another thing that is really important for certain classes of people is CoQ10. Now, what is CoQ10? CoQ10 helps turn off food into energy, and it's a powerful antioxidant. Now, the people who tend to be very deficient in CoQ10 and makes you more susceptible to headaches are people on statins. So statins are given to people who've got high cholesterol, right? So you try and bring your cholesterol down by more natural ways. Try and work with your doctor. You can work with us. We can help you do that. We've got functional medicine doctors that we work with, but you don't want to be taking statins, then getting headaches, and then taking more pills, and again you get into this vicious circle. But definitely you want to be supplementing with CoQ10. I'm a great proponent of elimination diets, and if anybody feels that their body is just not quite right, whether it be digestion or high blood pressure, or there's all sorts of symptoms and signs that you could be experiencing. But I'm a great proponent of elimination diets, and this is to find certain foods that's just not working for you. And you do that. You would do this by working with your diary. Just eliminate the more toxic. So what might you eliminate? Well, you might eliminate alcohol. What about man-made food that's full of preservatives and chemicals? You can eliminate those. Some people are affected by gluten, so you can eliminate those. Maybe how about foods that are GMO? You could try eliminating those and see whether it's having an effect. And then if you're feeling much better, then that's interesting. You can then gradually reintroduce these different foods slowly until you identify the one that's causing you the problem. I think there's lots of information about elimination diets. Very easy to Google. They are very, very, very useful at various times in your life to sort of clean things out. I tend to do a big detox once a year. January, like everybody does. Last couple of years during January, no alcohol, no man-made food. So everything completely natural. I cut out the coffee as well, and life was good. I lost weight. Everything felt much better. And I think it's very good to give our livers and our kidneys and our whole digestive tract a bit of a break. All right, elimination diets are great. Now, drink caffeinated tea or coffee. Now, some people can actually find relief from the headaches by drinking coffee. Now, obviously not too much, because you come off them, then you get these rebound headaches. But when you drink caffeinated, so maybe 1 or 2 a day, but it constricts the blood vessels, right? Constricts, reduces pressure, and they tend to improve mood. They make us feel better. All right, so definitely worth a try. A lot of TCM in Singapore. Acupuncture can be very, very effective, actually. This is more for symptomatic relief. So if you've got a headache and it's driving you crazy, then you could try acupuncture. In my world, chiropractic adjustment seems to work just as well, if not better. But some people swear by acupuncture. So again, these are all valid. We've got to find out what works for us. What else can we try? anything that relieves stress. So I do yoga sometimes. I do all sorts of things to relax. Actually, I do breathing exercises, and you know, I mentioned I go walking in the country with the dog. Whatever works for you, but relaxation, especially in Singapore, is vital. So please do set aside time for yourself. Thinking about triggers that can bring on headaches. Some people are really affected by strong smells. So be aware. Again, you know, maybe think about doing your diary. Anything that's got strong, pungent smells. I do know I've met quite a few people that when they get a big whiff of petrol, you know, in the fuel station, that'll bring on a headache. So just be aware of these things. Of course, many people, especially with a more Eastern persuasion, like to try herbal remedies, and I am one of those. I totally agree with coriander or cilantro is a great herb. Do try cooking with more herbs. You'll find that your digestion is better, and you'll find that these are very detoxing. Peppermint is great. Peppermint teas. And again, I mentioned lavender before. These are all great. Now we need to be aware that there's lots of nitrates and nitrites in our foods nowadays, and that's because these are food preservatives. They're everywhere, hard to avoid. My advice is always just eat natural. But one of the reasons that they will cause these headaches, they're unnatural in these types of concentrations, but also they expand the blood vessels, creating pressure, bringing on these headaches. Okay, a great anti-inflammatory one to try: ginger tea. I think ginger tea is great, very good for the digestion as well. And again, my wife swears by it, so I'll put that one in. And then we have, sorry, that's ginger tea. And then we have the big one, which is exercise. Exercise is absolutely vital. It is a non-negotiable. Definitely get your steps up. You know, everyone talks about that 10,000. But if we can get something a bit more vigorous a few times a week, exercise will boost energy, and it will release endorphins. Endorphins, these are the feel-good hormones that will make the headaches go away and have you feeling better in no time. Okay, and then of course the big one, you know, worth a try, definitely, is if you're a headache sufferer, don't miss your adjustments. Right, I will always say that because they just work. They just work. So let's just go through a few very, very simple exercises that are definitely worth trying. Most of these headaches are, well, all the headaches are multifactorial. Most of them are highly associated with problems in the neck. So at the end of the day, make sure you help get that curve back. So you can just roll a towel up and just lie on it there. It helps recreate the curve of the neck. You can even roll your neck from side to side, and it'll massage the back of your head. Very comforting. Some people swear by it. We've got all this forward head, this computer posture. We get tightness in our neck muscles, so we should be stretching them out. Always remember there are 6 directions of motion. Think about it. We've got forward, we've got back, we've got sideways, other side, and we've got 2 rotations. Okay? Don't let range of motion be lost gradually as you stiffen. It's going to hasten your aging. It's going to create more pulling on the back of your head and ultimately more headaches. Okay, every day checking with your neck. If it's feeling stiff, then you need to be adjusted perhaps, and you definitely need to be stretching. How often should you stretch? Well, if you're sitting at a computer all day every day, then I think you should be stretching a few times a day. I think this makes sense. And then people tend to build up a lot of stress in their shoulders. So, go ahead and stretch those shoulders out, roll them about, get the blood flowing, or remember, lift the sternum, pull the head back, get movement in that upper back. Now, I've got one set of exercises that I love. I pass them to everybody. I call them life extension exercises because I know that flexion stiffens you, makes you old before your time, and anything that helps slowing down aging is good in my book. And extension exercises. If you spend all day in flexion, you've got to spend time in extension. So YWLT, you will love this. So, I think every couple of hours, you should do one round of these. What am I talking about? So just go up into a Y, Y. Right? Pull your hands back, lift your sternum, you'll feel your chest opening. You can take bigger breaths. Already it's feeling good. Then you drop down into W. There's the W, you can see it in my arms. And pull those shoulder blades back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, pull the hands back, feeling better all the time. Then we go down into an L. There's the L with the arms. Again, pull the hands back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then you finish off with a big T, always pulling the hands back, right? YWLT, you will love this. You will live taller, whatever you want. But, why don't you write it on a sticky, stick it on the top of your computer, and then every couple of hours, run through those. It will help you, I promise. It always does, and no exception. Right, there are some warnings. If you are a headache sufferer and it is associated with either a stiff neck or a rash, or you've identified it as the worst headache you've ever had, or it's bringing you on very bad nausea and vomiting, slurred speech or visual disturbances that are abnormal for you, if it's associated with a fever of over 38, so, not feeling so good, or if there's any loss of function or paralysis, numbness, anything like that, then you must see a medical profession. Okay, it's very, very important that you understand that. As I said, if anybody, I'm going to start winding down now. If anybody would like a copy of all my hints and everything, I've got it all on a PDF. I'm very happy to share that with you. Please, if anybody is suffering from headaches and they're not coming into one of our clinics, then please help them find the way to this QR code. Take a photograph of it, just so that you've got it, so they can use it to find their way into one of our clinics. All right, that'll get them into our clinics for $60 instead of the normal 170. Any questions there? I don't hide. You can email me. My email address is there. If anybody's got any questions, I'm now going to look at the chat. Oh, I don't see much there. Like, it must have covered everything, eh? Okay, if you have any questions, then you can jump in right now on the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to wind it down. I'd like to thank you all for attending. As I said, we have made a recording of this, so this will be posted. So please feel free to share that to your good people. Okay.